Question 17 on the 3-5 test, question 10 on the 4-6 test, question 1 on the 5-7 test. In part A it says join all the pairs of numbers that add together to equal 1. The first one has been done for you. So they've done 0.1 add 0.9 and that gives us a whole one, and we need to fill in the rest. So if I start with 0.11 and say what do I need to add to that to get to a whole one, one way of thinking about it is like this is 11. And if I want to get that to 100, I need to add 89. Because if we now think of this as a column sum, 9 add 1 is 10, carry the 1, 8 add 1 is 10, carry the 1, and we get 1.00 like we need. So that one has got to match up with 0.89. Very similar for this one here. That's like 1. What do we need to add to get to 100? That's going to be 99. You could show it using a column sum here. For 0.91, we need to add another 9 to this, and that's going to be 0.9 there like that. And that would make us 10 in that column, carry the 1, 10 in that column, carry the 1, 1.00. Obviously we've only got one left, but we can check it anyway. Here, the 1 here stands for 1,000th. So this time we're working out of 1,000, and we need 999 to make this bit after the decimal into a whole one. So we'll join that one up there. Part B says now join all the pairs of numbers that multiply to equal 1. So just here we've got 0.5. Well, 0.5 is like a half, and we need 2 halves to get to a whole one, so that's going to join up with 2. If we start with 0.25, we need 4 lots of that to get a whole one. If we start with 0.1, imagine timesing by 10, that's like moving the decimal point once, that would make that 1. So we join 0.1 and 10 up. And the last one, 0.05, how many of those do we need to make a whole one? We need 20. Question 18 on the 3-5 test, question 11 on the 4-6 test, question 2 on the 5-7 test. Paul has 15 t-shirts. The information shows the colour of his t-shirt, so that's this bit over here. Paul is going to take one of his t-shirts at random. What is the probability that the t-shirt will be red? Well, remember, altogether he's got 15 t-shirts, and if we look here it says he's got 3 which are red. So that means we've got 3 out of 15. Remember, if you've got numbers, always try and write your probabilities as fractions or decimals and not using words. In part B it says what is the probability that the t-shirt will not be black? So the key word here is not black. So if we count up all the t-shirts that aren't black, we've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 t-shirts which aren't black. Out of 15 in total, you can, if you want, cancel that down to 2/3, although you don't need to get the mark. Question C says he takes one of his blue t-shirts at random. What is the probability that the t-shirt will be light blue? This time he's not picking from all of his t-shirts, he's just picking from his blue ones. And there are 3 blue t-shirts. So the chance of him picking a light blue is 1, because there's 1 light blue shirt, out of the 3 shirts. It's not out of 15 anymore, because he's not picking out of all his t-shirts, he's just picking out of the blue ones. Question 19 on the 3-5 test, question 12 on the 4-6 test, question 3 on the 5-7 test. Zach has some water in a jug. He pours the water into the jug below. Draw the correct level of water on the jug. Well, if we look along here, it's halfway between the bottom of the jug and 1. So this is half a litre, or 0.5 litres. And to answer this question, you need to know the fact that 1 litre is the same thing as 1,000 millilitres. So if I've got half a litre, that's going to be the same as half of this, which is 500 millilitres. So my line needs to go just here on the jug. Question 20 on the 3-5 test, question 13 on the 4-6 test, question 4 on the 5-7 test. Lisa has some boxes that are all cubes of the same size. She uses 4 of the boxes to make a pile with a height of 72 centimetres. She puts 1 more box on top of the pile. Work out the height of the pile of 5 boxes. Well, if we know that 4 boxes is 72 centimetres, then we can find the height of 1 box by dividing by 4. Okay, you could use bus stop to do that, or you can use mental arithmetic and say dividing by 4 is halving something and halving it again. Well, half of this is 36, half it again, we get 18 centimetres. Now that we know what one box is, we can find what 5 boxes are by multiplying by 5. Once again, you could do this by grid method, or you can do it in your head. Timesing by 5 is like timesing by 10 and then halving it. Times this by 10, we get 180. Half it, we get 90 centimetres. Question 21 on the 3-5 test. Question 14 on the 4-6 test. Question 5 on the 5-7 test. Part A says work out 5% of 360. The easiest way to get 5% is first to find 10%, and you do that by dividing by 10. So I need to do 360 divided by 10, which is 36. Then to get 5%, I do half of 10%, so I'm going to do 36 divided by 2, which is 18. In part B, it says work out 15% of 360. Well, I already know 10% and I already know 5%, so all I've got to do to find 15% is add these two together. So I need to do 36 add 18, which gives me 54. Question 22 on the 3-5 test, question 15 on the 4-6 test, question 6 on the 5-7 test. In these number grids, two numbers are added to give the numbers below. And there's an example, so we've got 13 add 12, and they're added to make 25, which we write underneath. We need to write in the numbers in the grids below to make them correct. So we've got 22 here, and we'd need to add something here to get 35. So 22 add something equals 35, and that will be what's going in this box here. That number has got to be 13. And then we can say, right, 13 add something equals 17, that one's got to be 4. This box is straightforward, we've just got to do 35 add 17. That gives us 52. For the second grid, we need two numbers here that add up to 12. Okay, it's not immediately obvious what they are, so what we could do is a bit of trial and error. For example, if you tried 11 and 1, that clearly can't work because you can't have 3 add something equals 1. So 11 and 1 isn't going to work. It would be the same thing with 10 and 2 or 9 and 3. The only thing we can really have here is 8 because this number has got to be bigger than this number, and 4 here because this number has got to be bigger than this number. And that means the number that's going to go in here has got to be 1 because 7 plus 1 is 8, 1 plus 3 is 4. If you didn't spot that straight away, use a bit of trial and error, see if your answer works. If it doesn't, rub it out, try something else. Question 23 on the 3-5 test, question 16 on the 4-6 test, question 7 on the 5-7 test. Look at the right angled triangle ABC. It's not drawn accurately, that means we can't use a protractor for this question. The square fits exactly inside the triangle. Work out the sizes of angles X, Y and Z. Well, if this shape here is a square, then that means that angle there, there, there and there, they're all right angles or 90 degrees. So I'll write 90 next to them as well. So we're going to use our basic angle rules to answer these questions, and we're going to isolate little parts of the diagram. For example, if I just look at that part of the diagram there, hopefully you can see I have a straight line with two angles on it. On a straight line, the angles have got to add up to 180 degrees. So if that one's 90, then we'd also need this one to be 90 to make 180 degrees. So I can write this one as 90 degrees. Okay, I'm also going to write that on there now because that can help me with the next part. Next, I'm going to work with this triangle here. The angles in a triangle should add up to 180 degrees as well, just like a straight line. And here I've got 90 and 70 that I know, and if I do 90 plus 70, that gives me 160 degrees. So the bit that I've got left over for this to make it all add up to 180, has to be 20 degrees. Lastly, to find angle Z, if we just look at this part of the diagram here, we've got another straight line with 3 angles on it this time. So if these two angles here, 90 and 70, we've just done that there, that's 160 degrees, then this little bit left over has also got to make it up to 180 degrees because it's on a straight line, which means that Z is also going to be 20 degrees. Because 90 add 70 add 20 makes 180. Question 24 on the 3-5 test, question 17 on the 4-6 test, and question 8 on the 5-7 test. Look at these equations. got 11 equals 6 plus A, and A plus 7 equals 10 plus B. Use both equations to work out the value of B. Well, if we look at this first one here, this is a very straightforward equation to solve. If we've got 11 equals 6 plus A, okay, you could spot the answer straight away. I'm going to do it using the balance method. I'm going to take away 6 from both sides. 11 take away 6, that gives me 5. And if I take away the 6 from this side, I get left with A equals 5. So what I can do now is replace this A by A5, because I know it's 5 from earlier. So I get 5 plus 7 on the left hand side equals 10 plus B. Well, 5 plus 7, that's just 12, equals 10 plus B. Well, what number does B have to be here? Well, it's got to be 2, because 10 plus 2 equals 12.